Good morning and welcome to Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor and here are the latest headlines. Over 84% polling in 6th and final phase of polling in West Bengal. Historic vote as enclave dwellers also vote for the first time. Congress to organize the Save Democracy rally in Delhi. Sonia and Rahul Gandhi to launch sharp attack against central government. Attempts being made to weaken Congress. Supreme Court to hear plea to file FIRs against politicians in Augusta Westland case. CBI says the former board member of Aeromatrix Gautam Khaitan accepted taking money from middlemen. Tragedy at the Simhasta Kumbh Mela in Ujjain. 7 people killed and many injured after heavy downpour brings down tents at the site. And at least 28 people killed in an airstrike on a refugee camp in rebel-held northern Syria. Majority of refugees civilians fleeing nearby Aleppo. Well, the top story this morning, the Congress will be holding a Save Democracy rally in the national capital today to launch a sharp attack against the central government. Now, Party President Sonia Gandhi and Vice President Rahul Gandhi are expected to launch a sharp attack on the government during the rally at the Jantar Mantar. Former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh is also expected to address this rally. Now, the party is protesting the imposition of President's rule in Uttarakhand and Arunachal Pradesh and alleged attempts to destabilize the Congress government in Himachal Pradesh. The protest also comes amidst the increased confrontation in Parliament over the Augusta Westland issue. Rahul Gandhi is expected to participate in a discussion on the issue in Lok Sabha today. The party is also using the rally to protest against what they claim is the government's assault on central universities like the JNU, Hyderabad and Allahabad University. Party leaders are also planning to gherao Parliament today.
ये जो सरकार है विथ वेंजेंस एक्ट कर रही है और अनडेमोक्रेटिकली हर तरीके के कदम उठा रही है, चाहे वो अरुणाचल में हो, चाहे उत्तराखंड में हो। और उनका मंशा यही है कि कांग्रेस को डिमोरलाइज करना, कांग्रेस के कार्यकर्ताओं को डिमोरलाइज करना, उनके नेताओं को बदनाम करना और पार्टी को बदनाम करना और लोगों के मन में एक शक पैदा करने का प्रयास वो कर रहे हैं.
And now an update on the political crisis in Uttarakhand, and the Supreme Court will be resuming its hearing the centre's plea against the Uttarakhand High Court's verdict. Now, the centre has challenged the Nainital High Court order quashing the imposition of President's rule in the state. On Wednesday, the Apex Court had asked the central government to consider holding a floor test under court supervision. The centre had sought 48 hours' time to decide on this matter. Remember, on 22nd of April, the High Court had in its ruling quashed the presidential proclamation on the ground that it was not based on relevant material and it had revived the Rawat government. Meanwhile, the CBI has summoned a former Uttarakhand Chief Minister Harish Rawat for questioning in connection with a preliminary inquiry into the controversial Sting CD, in which he was purportedly seen talking to middlemen in a bid to stake a deal with the dissident Congress MLAs. Rawat has been called by the CBI to join the probe on Monday. Now on to the biggest political face-off that is being played out over the Augusta Westland chopper scam. The Supreme Court will today hear a plea seeking registration of an FIR against political leaders, including Congress Chief Sonia Gandhi and former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh in the controversial deal. While the court will hear that plea, the CBI, on the other hand, is questioning official has claimed that a former board member of Aeromatrix, Gautam Khaitan, has accepted taking payments from middlemen. Now, Khaitan and former Deputy Air Chief Tyagi were examined by the CBI on Thursday. After being quizzed by the CBI for 3 days, former Chief SP Tyagi was questioned for 10 hours by the Enforcement Directorate. He was questioned about his role in the deal, and his statement was recorded under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. On the other hand, former Air Chief NAK K. Brownie, who is currently India's ambassador to Norway, has strongly refuted reports that he was the common link in the three major defense deals involving Augusta Westland, Rafale and Pilots aircraft. He called the allegations baseless and said that none of the deals have been signed during his tenure as the IAF chief. Meanwhile, the External Affairs Ministry has directed a number of Indian missions abroad to ask the countries concerned to speed up executing letters rogatory in connection with the scam. The LRs were issued to Italy, Tunisia, Mauritius, Singapore, British Virgin Islands, Britain, UAE and Switzerland. Now, 7 people have been killed and several injured in a tragedy that struck the Simhasta Kumbh Mela in Ujjain due to heavy downpour. Thankfully, quick response from the state government and the Kumbh Mela Samiti saved many lives and brought the situation under control. 7 people were killed and over 80 injured on Thursday at Simhasta Kumbh Mela in Ujjain as heavy rains coupled with strong winds wreaked havoc at the site. Most pandals were either flooded or started leaking after the downpour.
जैसे केदारनाथ का सीन था, हमने वो रूप देखा वहाँ पे कि जैसे महाकाल ऐसे करते हैं ना, वो वाला सीन होता है। एक चक्रवात जैसा प्रलय का महाकाल का रूप तेज जैसे में आता तो सूझा नहीं पब्लिक क्या हाल होगा। जिसका उड़ गया, जिसका गिर गया, जिसका खो गया, सब जान बचाने को भाग रहे थे।
ये एकदम ऐसा ताज्जुब सा हुआ, एकदम ऐसा कोई सोचा नहीं कि इतनी हवा चल जाएगी। एकदम तूफान और पानी और ओले तीनों एक साथ थे।
संभलने का मौका भी नहीं दिया।
हाँ, ऐसा लगा महाप्रलय होने वाली है।
तहस-नहस हो गया है। प्रशासन को इतना टेलीफोन लगा रहे हैं, प्रशासन का कोई भी आदमी अभी तक नहीं आया। 4 घंटे हो गए, पूरा पंडाल अस्त व्यस्त है, पूरा पंडाल उड़ गया है, लाइट पूरी इनकी बंद है। प्रशासन की तरफ से कोई सहयोग नहीं मिल रहा है। यहाँ पे किसी भी प्रकार का कोई सहयोग नहीं हमारे लिए।
Most number of casualties were reported from a spot in Mangalnath zone where a pandal caved in, trapping many devotees. Rescue operations began immediately after the squall. However, due to heavy rain, large parts of the Mela ground became slushy and slippery, making the rescue operations difficult. Power supply was also cut off by the authorities as a precautionary measure.
निश्चित रूप से प्राकृतिक आपदा आई है, परंतु चूंकि सरकार की तरफ से पूर्व से ही सारी व्यवस्थाएं थी और इसलिए कोई बड़ी घटनाएं नहीं हो पाई हैं। अभी लोगों को चोटें लगी हैं और कुछ लोग की सूचना है कि टेंट के नीचे दबे हुए हैं, वो सब हम लोग देख रहे हैं, निकाल रहे हैं और सरकार की तरफ से पूरा प्रयास किया जा रहा है कि कहीं पर भी लोग असुरक्षित ना रहें।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi expressed grief over the incident and said that he was anguished over the loss of lives due to the incident. Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan visited the injured in the hospital and gave assurance of complete support from his side.
जो आए हैं वो सब हमारे अतिथि हैं, उनका आतिथ्य सत्कार कोई दिक्कत और अव्यवस्था ना हो, इसकी भरसक हम लोगों ने प्रयास किया है, कोशिश की है। लेकिन ये दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण था कि अचानक तूफान और बारिश के कारण विशेषकर मंगलनाथ क्षेत्र में कुछ टेंट गिरे। एक बहन की मौत हुई पंचक्रोशी यात्रा में बिजली गिरने के कारण। एक हमारे होमगार्ड के जवान थे, उनने भी शहादत दी है। सरकार का भी संकल्प है कि अन्न की कमी नहीं होगी। आटे से लेकर और चावल तक जो भी आवश्यक व्यवस्थाएं वो हम युद्ध स्तर पर करेंगे। गिरे टेंट फिर खड़ा करेंगे। एक बड़े हिस्से में कोई नुकसान नहीं हुआ है, लेकिन जहां भी जो थोड़ी सी दिक्कत हुई है उस दिक्कत को दूर करने में कोई कसर नहीं छोड़ेंगे। सारी व्यवस्थाएं सुचारू है।
Thousands of devotees from across the country have been visiting Ujjain since 22nd of April, since the beginning of the month-long Mela. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. Now an update on the drought situation in the country, and the politics is threatening to increase the suffering of the people of Bundelkhand region in Uttar Pradesh. The state government has turned down the centre's offer to send a water train to droughted districts in the region. The Akhilesh Yadav government wrote a letter to the Railway Ministry saying that the state has no water shortage, and if they did need water, they will inform the railways about it.
water train sent by the centre to drought-hit Bundelkhand region in Uttar Pradesh has been turned down by the state government. The train with 10 wagons of water reached Jhansi on Thursday, intending to reach Bundelkhand's Mahoba on Friday morning. But the UP government refused to let the train enter the region.
पानी का हमने प्रबंध किया है और जब पानी की ज़रूरत पड़ेगी, तब पानी हम मांग लेंगे, लेकिन अभी पानी की ज़रूरत नहीं है.
Chief Minister Akhilesh Yadav wrote a letter to the Railway Ministry saying that UP is not facing a Latur-like water shortage. The UP government also claims the state administration has made an adequate arrangements to meet the water demands of the Bundelkhand region.
पीने के पानी की सबसे ज्यादा हमने उसमें ध्यान दिया. धनराशि सब तक जगह पहुंच चुकी है. टैंकर से पानी जहां उपलब्ध होना है, टैंकर खरीद लिए गए हैं. टैंकर से पानी पहुंचाया जा रहा है. तालाब भरे जा रहे हैं. जहां जहां तालाब नहीं भरे गए, वहां जिलाधिकारी को निर्देश दिए गए कि प्रत्येक गांव में कम से कम एक तालाब को जरूर भरा जाना सुनिश्चित किया जाना चाहिए.
The issue turned political, with the ruling Samajwadi Party calling it a desperate attempt by the BJP to snatch credit from Akhilesh Yadav's government.
उत्तर प्रदेश को लातूर न बनाएं. उत्तर प्रदेश लातूर नहीं, हमारे यहाँ पीने के पानी की कमी नहीं है, और कमी होगी तो हम खुद केंद्र सरकार से मांग लेंगे. लेकिन जानबूझ के केंद्र सरकार सिर्फ पानी भेज के अगर ये दिखाना चाहती कि हम बुंदेलखंड के लोगों के दुख में खड़े हैं, तो उन्हें भोजन, कपड़ा, दवाई आदि सब भेज दें, तो मैं समझूंगा केंद्र सरकार को मदद.
Other parties too jumped into the debate, mostly with an eye on assembly elections next year.
जब गरीब लोगों की जरूरत की बात आई तो आपने उस पर लौटाने की नाम की राजनीति कर दी. कल पूरे बुंदेलखंड के सांसद बैठे थे नीति आयोग में, और उसमें पीने के पानी के संकट की ही सांसदों ने बात उठाई है कि तुरंत पीने के पानी का संकट है, इसका निदान करिए. पूरे बुंदेलखंड के सांसद कह रहे हैं कि पीने के पानी का संकट है, और अखिलेश यादव की सरकार ऐसे समय पर उन ट्रेनों को वापस जाने के लिए कह रही है. ये बहुत शर्मनाक बात है.
मेरा मानना है कि पानी को लेकर किसी तरह की राजनीति नहीं होनी चाहिए. बुंदेलखंड के लोगों के लिए अगर पानी गया है, किसी ने भी भेजा हो, सरकार अगर केंद्र ने भेजा है तो उसका स्वागत करना चाहिए, क्योंकि पानी जो है वो वहाँ के जनता की जो जरूरत है उसके लिए गया है.
You see, the Uttar Pradesh government is both deaf and dumb. They are not able to listen to the woes and pains of people who are suffering from hunger. The entire UP, over 50 districts are under drought, serious drought. And even after this, the UP Chief Minister is not moved. It only proves that he is having no concern for the people of UP.
The political blame game aside, Bundelkhand is facing severe shortage of water. Several farmers have committed suicide in the region, and around 40 villages in Mahoba are facing acute water shortage.
बहुत ज़्यादा समस्या है पानी की. लोग जो है रात दिन पानी के लिए घूम रहे हैं, बाल्टी लिए. टैंकर आता है, कभी नहीं आता है, नल आते हैं, नहीं आते हैं. आदमी दूर दूर से पानी ला रहा है.
हमारे यहाँ के सारे नागरिक जो है महोबा के, वो प्यासों के मारे बूंद बूंद के लिए तरस रहे हैं. और अगर ऐसे में जो है सरकार पानी की ट्रेन पहुँचाती है तो हम लोग के लिए ये जीवन दान होगा और हम लोग के लिए इससे बड़ी राहत मिलेगी.
Akhilesh Yadav is likely to meet Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Delhi on May 7 to discuss the drought situation in the state. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, a wrong depiction of the Indian map could land the violators in jail with a maximum term of 7 years and fine up to 100 crore rupees. Well, a measure envisaged by the government against the backdrop of instances where certain social networking sites showed J&K and Arunachal Pradesh as part of Pakistan and China respectively. According to the draft, the Geospatial Information Regulation Bill 2016, it will be mandatory to take permission from a government authority before acquiring, disseminating, publishing or distributing any geospatial information of India. And the government also proposed to set up a security vetting authority to carry out security vetting of the geospatial information of India in a time-bound manner and as per the regulations framed by an apex committee. The draft bill will ensure that online platforms like Google will have to apply for a license to run Google Maps or Google Earth in India. According to the draft bill, the Security Vetting Authority, on receipt of an application and after examining the application in terms of the guidelines, shall either grant the license or reject the application, as the case may be. And the Supreme Court will continue hearing plea of states and others against NEET. The court had on Thursday clarified that private colleges would not be allowed to conduct separate exams for medical examinations. Now, the Apex Court also asked the centre to inform if states with the special laws on medical admissions be allowed to conduct tests only for this year. The Supreme Court had on 29th of April said that the entrance test for admission to MBBS and BDS courses for the academic year 2016-17 will be held as per schedule through the two-phased common entrance test NEET on 1st of May and 24th of July. While the first phase of NEET has already been conducted on 1st of May, there is a lot of apprehension and confusion among students and parents on whether to appeal for their state's respective examinations. And time to take a very short break. After the break, we have all the election-related news as well as international news and sports news. Stay tuned.
Create opportunities for the students to get absorbed in engineering jobs. And if you have to do that, then you have to do really high quality engineering in the country. Autonomy of the engineering institutes. These must be taken as completely sacrosanct aspects. Let the educators handle themselves.
Watch Eureka with Professor Santosh Kapudia, Director, Structural Engineering Research Center at Chennai, only on Rajya Sabha TV.
First news from West Bengal, and over 84% of voter turnout was recorded in the sixth and the final phase of polling in West Bengal. The Election Commission says that barring a few incidents of violence, the election was largely peaceful.
The sixth and last phase of polling for the West Bengal General Assembly election 2016 has concluded.
25 seats spread across 2 districts, polling to elect among 170 candidates for the final phase of elections to the 294-member assembly.
The Kuch Bihar district, where 9 assembly constituency went for poll today, the 5 p.m. voter turnout reported by the DO is 82.71%. In East Medinipur, it is 85.09%, and overall for this 25 constituency, it is 84.24%.
না ভালোই দেখলাম তো নিরাপত্তা ভালোই আছে মানে কোনো অসুবিধা দেখলাম না সবাই তো শান্তিপূর্ণভাবেই ভোটটা দিলাম
The Election Commission says barring a few incidents of violence, polling was largely peaceful.
More than 52,000 number of police force was deployed overall for law and order maintenance as well as for the security at booth. Today's election, which were held barring few stray incidents, by and large smoothly without any major incident of violence.
नया सरकार आए उसमें कुछ डेवलप्ड होए, लेकिन अभी जो सरकार है अभी कुछ नहीं काम कर रहे हम लोगों का।
सब देशवासी के सुविधा देखना, रास्ता घाट, स्कूल कॉलेज ठीक से पढ़ाई होगा।
ये ज्यादा औरतों पर जुल्म होता है ना, हम कैसे सहते हैं, ऐसे हम पर नेता पर देखना चाहिए।
It was also a historic election with voters from enclaves India exchanged with Bangladesh also voting.
About 9,400 number of voters who became the citizen of India first time last year in August had become the voters also. It was a very historic moment.
The elections in West Bengal were spread in 6 phases, with the first phase having 2 election dates. In phase 1A, the voter turnout was 84.22%, while it was 83.73% in phase 1B. In phase 2, the turnout was recorded at 83.05%. In the third phase, it was 82.28% and 81.25% in phase 4. In the fifth phase, the turnout was 81.66%.
In 2011 assembly election, for your information, the overall percentage was 88.41, and in parliament election 2014 in these 25 constituencies, the overall turnout, final turnout was 85.29.
The counting of votes will take place on May 19th.
This West Bengal election will be memorable in many ways, whether it be a case of heavy paramilitary deployment or open criticism of Election Commission by any chief minister. This election also witnessed unprecedented alliance of 2 different poles such as Congress and Left. in East Midnapur with cameraman Narayan. This is Panchanan Mishra for Rajya Sabha TV.
News from Kerala, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi is all set to give a high voltage push to BJP's campaigning for the 16th of May polls in Kerala. He will also make a quick stop to address rallies in Tamil Nadu. Now, Prime Minister Modi will begin the Kerala tour by addressing an election rally in Palakkad. With the party going all out to open its account in the State Assembly, Modi will address 4 other rallies during his campaign tour of the state on 8th and 11th of May. Now, BJP is expecting nearly 1 lakh party activists to take part in the Prime Minister's first election convention in Palakkad. While BJP President Amit Shah launched his campaign in the state by addressing a series of rallies on Thursday, Home Minister Rajnath Singh will be in Kerala for a 2-day campaign that starts today. Now, BJP, which has tied up with the Bharatiya Dharma Jan Sangh, has fielded 97 candidates, while the BDJS has put up 37. The remaining seats have been allocated to smaller parties. Now, the Prime Minister will also address rallies in Tamil Nadu. He will address the first rally in Hosur and his second in Chennai. The BJP will contest in 164 assembly constituencies out of 234 in the state. The party has allotted 45 seats to its ally India Jananyagya Kachi, 24 to Akhil India Makkal Kalvi Munnetra Kazhagam, and 1 to Muslim Munnetra Kazhagam. Now, more news from Tamil Nadu, and ruling AIADMK in Tamil Nadu has released its manifesto. It has promised a slew of freebies in its manifesto for the 16th of May assembly polls. The party has assured mobile phones to all ration card holders, as well as free 100 units of power and Wi-Fi in public places if it is voted to power for another term. The manifesto also promises employment to 1 member of each household through various programs and increased financial assistance under the maternity scheme from 12,000 rupees to 18,000 rupees, creation of Amma Venture Capital Fund of 500 crore rupees to promote first-generation entrepreneurs, 100 crore rupees Amma Collateral Guarantee Fund to provide collateral-free loans to SMEs were some other promises made in the manifesto. And now news from across the border. Nepalese Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli survived a threat to his government after a U-turn by the Prachanda-led Maoists. They decided not to withdraw support for him for the time being. Now, the dramatic turnaround came after top leaders of the ruling coalition partners met at the residence of Maoist chief Prachanda, and they decided not to withdraw support from the government for the time being. Now, it has not been disclosed what type of understanding that the Maoists have reached with the Oli's party to change its earlier decision. The Maoists and the opposition Nepali Congress have accused Prime Minister Oli of failing to implement the new constitution, address the problems related to the Madheshis, and expedite the post-quake reconstruction work, also failing to check soaring prices and promoting black marketing and corruption in the country. On to the other big international story. Well, at least 28 people are reported to have been killed in an airstrike on a refugee camp in rebel-held northern Syria. While a 48-hour temporary ceasefire is in place, fighting continues in many other areas. And with the President Assad saying that he still sought a total victory over rebels, the ceasefire's fate seems to be more or less sealed. Desperate efforts on to douse fire in the tents of a refugee camp in northern Syria bordering Turkey. The ground still smolders. This as government airstrikes hit the camp, killing at least 28 and wounding 100 others who had taken refuge in this camp near Sarmada, a town in Idlib province. The majority of refugees were civilians fleeing nearby Aleppo, where an offensive by the Syrian government is threatening to cause a humanitarian catastrophe.
The agreement that was implemented 36 hours ago did result in a reduction in violence in and around Aleppo, but there's still too many violations in and around Aleppo and in other parts of the country that are a source of significant concern here.
The strike comes a day after the extension of a truce was confirmed. The Syrian military and non-jihadist rebel forces had agreed to a temporary truce around the city of Aleppo following pressure from the US and Russia. However, fighting continued nearby, as Syrian President Bashar al-Assad said that he still sought total victory over rebels in Syria.
We call on Russia to urgently address this totally unacceptable statement. This is clearly an effort by Assad to push his agenda, but it's incumbent on Russia to exert influence on that regime, or on the regime rather, to maintain the cessation of hostilities.
The nationwide cessation of hostilities that has been in place since February is under severe pressure, to say the least. In Aleppo, some 300 people have died in clashes over the past 2 weeks. While temporary truce did bring some relief to Aleppo, violence continues in other areas. The talks in Geneva were deadlocked amid the government's refusal to discuss a transition that would see Assad eased out of power. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And North Korea is holding its first party congress in decades as leader Kim Jong-un seems to cement his status and chart a vision for the future. Now, thousands of delegates are meeting for a show of support being seen as an unofficial coronation. It is the 7th Party Congress, the first since 1980. At the Congress, the country's leader Kim Jong-un is expected to declare isolated North Korea a nuclear weapons state and formally adopt its Pyongyang policy to push simultaneously for economic development and nuclear capability. Now, the run-up to the Congress has seen attempts at missile launches amid speculation that the North will conduct a 5th nuclear test. Remember, sanctions on North Korea were tightened after it conducted a 4th nuclear test in the month of January and a subsequent missile test. The Congress could also see a new generation of leaders put in place. News coming in from the US, in the most dramatic sign of the challenge that Donald Trump faces in uniting the Republican Party behind his candidacy, US House Speaker Paul Ryan has said that he cannot currently support Trump as the GOP presidential nominee. Now, the highest-ranked elected Republican called for Trump to unite the party and do more to adhere to conservative principles. Now, Ryan's position makes him the highest-level GOP official to reject Trump since the real estate mogul became the last candidate standing in the party's nominating contest. The comments came at a time when there are speculations that Ryan, the 2012 vice presidential nominee alongside Mitt Romney, may make a last-minute run for the top job. However, Ryan dispelled those claims. Meanwhile, Trump has retorted to Ryan's comment, saying that he was not ready to support Ryan's agenda. He added that perhaps we can work together in the future. And Ahmet Davutoglu has announced that he is stepping down as the leader of Turkey's ruling AK party and therefore from its role as the Prime Minister. In his speech defending his record but also vowing loyalty to Erdogan, Ahmet Davutoglu said that he kept his party and the government intact during a tumultuous period and it pledged that a strong AKP government would continue. Now, Davutoglu's departure plunges the NATO member into political uncertainty just as Europe needs his help in curbing a migration crisis and also Washington needs support in fighting Islamic State in Syria and Iraq.
AK Parti'nin birliğinin, beraberliğinin devamı için refik değişmesindense bir genel başkan değişiminin daha doğru olacağı kanaati bende hasıl oldu. Çünkü herhangi bir şekilde MKYK yenilenmesi partimiz içinde gereksiz tartışmalara sebebiyet verecekti. Bu bağlamda önümüzdeki olağanüstü kongrede bu şartlar altında aday olmayı düşünmüyorum.
That's all in this edition of News, but news and updates continue on your channel. Thanks for your time.